Hey everybody, my name is Josh, joshhallmusic.com. This is the Shavasana Kitty YouTube channel. And if you're just dropping in, hey, welcome. If you have seen me before, thanks for coming back. And if you subscribed, hey, all right, thanks. Today's lesson is a philosophical lesson called Why Close the Door? And it has to do with understanding the laws of music. And there are I don't know, there's a stream of guitar players out there who seem pretty opposed to learning anything about how music works. And that there's a fear that if they do learn how it works, that it will somehow stifle their creativity. And I mean, even before humans gave names to the natural notes, those notes existed. And the laws that govern them, the spaces between them, the way they pull on each other, their orbits with each other, they all existed before humans even tried to understand anything about them. And so when you make up something, whether you know those rules or not, you're still governed by them. And here's an example of that. So, like, let's say I have this chord, right? And I think it sounds great. But I don't know anything about music and I know nothing about the guitar, so I put my fingers here and I play that and I think it sounds fantastic. And then I've got this next chord and I do that and that sounds fantastic too. And then I go, wow, now that's miraculous, right? Now, that's fine. If I'm playing all by myself and I love the way those things sound, whether I know what I'm playing or not doesn't really matter. But as soon as another person comes into play with me, now it kind of does. And here's why. If I go and I play this, and my pianist goes, hey, what notes are you playing? And you can't tell them that you're playing a D, an F sharp, and a C sharp? Well, then they have to be the musician in the room. And they have to go, oh, okay, you're playing a D, an F sharp, and a C sharp. That gives them a musical universe that they're now a part of. And if you don't know that that's kind of like a D major 7 and your next chord is a B minor 9 and your next chord's a G major 9, well, the person you're playing with kind of has to figure that out. And you could just tell them, or they could be like, okay, well, I'm sounding it out. And now we can be creative, okay? But here's the thing. If I'm playing along with you and you don't tell me that you're playing this chord, I go, okay, cool, I got that. And then you go, all right, and I'm playing this one next. And if I decide that, hey, I think that's a B major 9. And you go, well, wait a minute. That sounds wrong. Okay, well, your universe, you didn't tell me that you didn't want me to play a B major 9 there. You just assumed that that the D sharp isn't present because the D was here, all right? And then you go to here. So, okay, so is that going to be we want that? Well, no, we want that. Oh, okay. It's like the law of water. Now, you might not know anything about how water works. There's a stream running down to the ocean, and then it evaporates, goes in the sky, and creates amazing clouds. They gather together, and then they rain down. You may not understand that, okay? But if you start dumping chemicals in the water, it's all going to affect everything downstream, whether you know those rules or not. And the same is true with music. Created a musical universe. And if the person you're playing with decides that that musical universe needs to have some notes dropped in it that you don't intend, and they're like, oh yeah, you might not be as happy about that note being added to your stream. And the reason you're not happy about it is because the law of music to you defined when you created that little riff. And if you could have shared that with us, then it's an easier place to inhabit, okay? Baseball player, they don't have to understand gravity. to know that if they put their hand on a baseball a certain way and throw it as a curveball, that they can take advantage of the fact that gravity pulls on the ball. That law is still there, whether you understand it or not. At the very least, learn the notes you're playing. You don't have to know that when you stick them together, you get a particular chord. But if you could tell the hammer dulcimer player what you're playing, or the saxophonist what notes you're physically holding, that makes their job that much easier and allows you to create in a way that is at another level, because you're not just relying on your ears. You're going, oh, boom, now I've got a universe. This is what this person wants. I can go within that world. And it's a lot faster. It's a lot more efficient to teach that way. It's a lot more efficient to learn that way. It's a lot more efficient to play together that way. If you don't want to know that, if you don't want to be able to exist in those things, in that other plane where you're able to at least tell people what you can do, then you're kind of always working at a same place. And the people that are working with you have to decide, how hard do I want to work to be able to support what you're creating? And so my advice to anybody learning to play an instrument, the bottom, most basic thing you could do is learn what notes you're playing. Learn the names of them. And then when you get together with other people, you can at least share that information with them when you go to play. Don't shut the door on understanding. Those laws exist whether you want them to be there or not. You're not going to break them. They've been there since before we even knew what music was. And so, it's not going to change your creativity. You've got this wide open space. You've got these beautiful 12 notes. Use them. Use them however you want. But at least learn what they're called. All right. If this was helpful, useful in some way, hit the like button. Subscribe. Maybe you'll find my newsletters useful. joshhallmusic.com. There's a link in the description and stuff. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.